We always recommend that, or we insist on getting us involved as early on in the process, because one of the biggest mistakes that we see companies making is waiting until the very end, like just before they launch, to get basically, you spent all this money bringing in a UX writer, and then you just ask them to proofread your work. No, because a lot of companies think that, they bring in the UX writer because they like the buzzword, but they don't actually know how to utilize their skills.
So when is the best timing to bring in and bring out the UX writer?
We usually come in right after discovery. So when a team has a lot of preliminary findings of user behavior,
pain points
and terminology that might be confusing, or a different feature that they either want to upgrade or create from scratch. And then Alina and I sort of look at it again from the UX writing perspective, where we essentially design with words. We sort of map out the conversation that would happen between the user and the UI, and that informs the design together with the UX designer. So we always say we can start with a draft copy. That happens as well sometimes, where the designer comes up with the text, and then we provide variations for testing. So we always say, get us after discovery, but before you test your prototype or your early wireframes with users, because talking to users as writers is a gold mine. We will often sit in usability interviews with the UX designer, but in the background, because all we're listening to is like the words that people use. Very often users will say, when you say this, do you mean, first of all, that means that it's not clear. And second of all, the user is probably using more everyday words, not jargon and internal words that you use all the time, to help inform the UI better and make it more human and less confusing.
And then we'll usually use that to come up with variations. And like Michelle said before, it's super important to repeat that UX writers spend probably 50% of their time providing UX feedback and UX rationale. So it's not just
grammar and spelling.
Yeah, it's not just let's make this sound catchy and make sure that the spelling is on point.